What is going on, guys? My name is Caleb.
And my name is Jay.
And welcome to episode 1 of the JnC podcast here on JnC Media YouTube channel and on the JnC Media iTunes page. Today, we'd like to start off this episode by doing a segment we call Education Explanation, or in simpler terms, just a basic school rant.
School rant, yeah.
So, what I really wanted to talk about was group projects.
Oh my gosh.
Now, okay, so group projects, because we all went to school, if we're not in school right now. So group projects, like, you have this assignment, and your teacher will give you a group to do it because she feels or he feels like it will improve your grade. But then you always have this problem, because there's always there's the same, I'm not kidding, it's the same situation every single group project that I've been in, and I know Jay has been in this situation too.
Oh yeah.
You'll get this one kid who doesn't do anything. Like, he will sit there, not do anything, and when the final results come, like when it's time to hand in the assignment, he comes out of nowhere, or he or she comes out of nowhere and says, "Oh, but you guys didn't give me the information, you didn't let me do anything." That's their excuse that they use.
Usually one way or another, yeah, something like that.
Then you have the other kid who does everything. Well, not everything, but most of the work, because he or she wants to put in the effort. And there's the third person is usually that person who's just kind of helps out a little bit. But it's the person who's basically in the middle. It's like the triangle of group projects is literally what it is. It's the same thing every single time. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like they should just cut out group projects, because the system doesn't work. It just does not work. There's just so many people who don't want to do anything. I mean, if you go to university or you're in work and group projects are a good way to get the workers going together, then that's completely different. But in school, because in school, there's always the kids who slack off and the kids who get good grades and then the kids in between. And for some reason, they always get put together in the group.
All right, let me just tell you guys a story. That'll just kind of help illustrate everything a lot more better. More better. That's group projects.
That's how it goes. That's our English group projects.
Oh yeah. So, once upon a time, there was a kid named Jay.
I'm already interested.
Oh, it gets really good. So just So, Jay goes to high school and he's in grade 12, and he's in his business. One of his business.
Is this theoretical or is this?
Oh no, this is real life.
Oh, this is real. Okay.
It's real. Oh no, we'll just leave it as a fairy tale ish kind of thing. So, anyways, so Jay is in his business class. I'm not sure if a couple of you know this is a business leadership class. Anyways, so we have an assignment assigned to us in November of year 2014. The assignment is to create a motivational type exercise, game, whatever thing that you would kind of see in a business, kind of motivate the employees to do work and work together and build other skills and whatnot. So, now in this class, Jay doesn't really know a lot of people per se, and it's just one of those classes where I didn't really know anyone in that class. So I was just kind of one of those stragglers when it came to group projects who just kind of go with whoever don't have people.
Were you like the new kid? Is this beginning of the year
kid,
or something?
It was more or less like I didn't know anyone in the class kind of thing. So anyways, group project is assigned. Everyone goes automatically to their friends and whatnot. And then I'm kind of stuck like, oh, okay, so there's a couple of you guys there. So I'm just like, all right, whatever, I'll just
I know how you feel. Like sometimes, like when I get into a new class and then there'll be like the 3 kids who I kind of know but I don't actually hang out with. You have to like go with them because they're like the closest things you know.
That's the thing. I'll get to that actually. There's a thing I want to talk about, especially with friends. But back to the story. So I'm going with these people. I don't really know a lot about them. I know a couple of them, more of an acquaintance kind of thing. So we get in our group They're just like, yeah, this is gonna be great. We're gonna do a really good job. And we're just like, yeah, whatever. So
I'm just here for the ride, to be honest.
Exactly. So, and this particular subject I actually wanted to do well because my
Because my microphone wasn't working,
exactly.
I needed to go to Long and McQuaid and get a new one.
My mark was actually decently in this class, doing decently in this class. So I'm just like, well, I'll try to do pretty good on this time. It was actually a major assignment. It's just that one thing. Like when you get group assignments, they're always worth like a lot.
what is up with that? Like you'll get an individual assignment where it's super pressure, and it'll be like you hand it in, you work so hard, you did it all by yourself, and you get the weight factor is 2.0. Okay, and then you get this one group project where you have like 4 other people in the group, and then the weight factor is like 18.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all.
Teacher logic, I suppose. So the months go on, November, December, and our project was due, I think, the end of January. So
2015
of January. So it was a month. There was a beginning of January. After the Christmas break, we all talked about it. It's like, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do this. Your guys gonna do this, and this. And I just kind of took on the leadership role. I'm gonna sound like a huge jerk because I'm gonna sound like I'm just the best person in the world, but just bear with me. So, I kind of took over the role of like assigning things because no one really seemed to want to do that. So I'm just like, all right, you do this, and you do this, and you do this. Side note, I can understand. I actually feel for those people who are wanting to be the leader in the class because it's either so awkward or just everyone hates you in the group because you're just quote unquote the boss, but it's because like you need to be that or else no one's gonna listen and do anything. So come January, we're just like, all right, we're gonna do this. I want person A to do this, person B to do this, person C to do this. So it's like, all right. So I had another person in my group who actually kind of wanted to do wells on the assignment, and
thank God.
So it's just
thank God there's that one kid who actually wants to do well. Okay, this is such a famous statement in school. You can't lie. Have you ever heard one of your friends in your class or another person in your class say, "Oh well, I'm passing"? It's like, yeah, you're getting above 50, but I actually want to do good in this class.
They're just like, yeah, that
do
is
well.
good. I'm just
sorry,
like,
do
no,
well.
It's not.
Do well? Is it do well or do good?
Either and or.
Whatever. You want to, like, I'm sitting there like, I want to get an 80 in this class, and this kid's like, oh, well, I passed. Like, yeah, okay, you passed, and you try to get into university with that grade. So I can understand what you're trying to say.
Exactly. So, I right away I tried to get my part of the assignment done, and that was great. And we've been communicating over Facebook about who's doing what and making sure everyone knows what they're doing. So come a week before the assignment, we're supposed to hand in an outline of what the itinerary is supposed to be like. So they're just like, yeah, the person who was supposed to do the itinerary is just like, what? And I'm just like, you're supposed to do the itinerary. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll do it. So I wait a day, it's not done, it's due the next day. I'm just like, you know what, forget it, I'll just do it. They're just like, oh, okay, fine. And I'm just like, all right, you take care of the title page or something, just
give him like the easiest thing ever.
So, I mean, the other person who actually wanted to do well, we'll say person A. Person A actually like did their part, it was great. I did my part well, I would say, so. And person C, or B and C, ended up turning in, B turned up like the title page, I mean, something, whatever. C, I don't even know. What did C do? I think they wrote a small paragraph.
Moral support is what C did.
Exactly. So, I mean, we handed it in. We did the project. Project day, they had zero clue as to what the activities were and to what we were doing. And I was like, okay, you know what? Just tell them to do this, and I'll just kind of organize everything else.
Was there a presentation?
It was a presentation. We had to
see. That's the thing. Like, you've got the work is half of it. There's actually the fact that you need to present it that it just screws with everybody.
And we ended up just kind of winging. Well, I just told them to wing most of it, and it actually kind of worked out for the better. So, in the end, lesson learned: don't hugely depend on other people in a group project, especially if you know what their work ethics are and kind of determine how well they're going to, like, what they're going to contribute to the group. And I feel so much for the people who actually want to do well, and then it's just like those small people who just don't do anything. But anyways, I'm not excusing the fact that there are some people, like that one group member who just kind of is like, okay, I'll do everything, you guys just kind of shut up and sit down.
Oh yeah, that's not like, okay, there are people who want everybody to do, like, collectively do the work, and it just so happens that they have to do it all by themselves. But I know some kids, especially people who I've been groups with, they take the work for themselves. Like, it'll be like, oh yeah, teacher assigns us this. Okay, don't worry, I'll do everything. And then, okay, what am I supposed to do here? I'm just supposed to not do anything, and then, like, because I had to do that for a science project. We had a project that was pretty, like, simple. I'm pretty sure we could have all done it, everybody in my group, but this one kid decided he was going to do it all by himself, and come presentation day, we had no idea what to do because he took it on himself to do everything.
Oh, but you know, I'll talk about 2 other groups now before I get to what, like, hallelujah, they actually added this component into. I'm not sure if they added it into other schools, but they added it into my school. But there's what is it? Oh yeah, working with friends. Working with friends has its ups and downs, especially like its pros and cons kind of thing. I mean, you could end up with your friends and everyone's like, yeah, well, okay, we'll do this. But I would say like 9 times out of 10, you probably will just go to their house to work on it and then not do anything.
Yeah.
Because you're like, and then whoever's like wants to be the leader in the group won't take each other seriously because they're all friends.
Exactly.
And then another point is that it's the struggle is so real.
The struggle is real,
it's
guys.
So real because I don't know how this works out, but it's usually like 1 out of 10 times you'll like, okay, that's unrealistic. Let's say
it's unrealistic.
Let's say
1
like
out of 10 times.
4 out of 10 times you'll actually get in the group, a group who actually does work. It's always like the other groups that have those good people, and then it's always just like you and then people
you
who
and that
don't want
one
to do
kid,
work.
and the one, not even just one person. It could be multiple people who's just like, you get the group assignment, you're like, please, 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 and you look at the list and it's like, are you kidding me? These are the exact people I ask not to have.
And like it's usually it's actually kind of a good thing that teachers usually put like group projects a couple weeks, months into the school year to kind of get a feel for everyone's in the classes, like how they work, so you can kind of see who you can depend on and who you should try to pick for a group. But anyways, this is something I'm so glad they implemented. As of I don't know when, but I think 1 or 2 or 3 years ago maybe.
Must
they
have
have
been
this.
something like
They have this thing where when you're done your group project, they'll give you a sheet, and you have to write down how much % of each person in the group did.
Oh yeah.
Now, see, it's kind of like a smack in the face to those people who haven't done anything because they're just like, oh, crap. Because obviously, you're ticked, the other person who kind of did work is ticked, in my situation. I'm ticked, the other person who did work is pretty ticked, that the other 2 didn't do anything, and then they're kind of like beg for mercy at the last minute and be like, well, I did this is worth like a little bit. No. But we haven't got that sheet yet.
No, just straight up no. You didn't do anything, you're not getting any marks.
Have they done that with you?
With me?
The like the sheet where you kind of like fill out how much percentage you did in the group?
Well, I remember you gave me a sheet to ask you what I identify as. That was pretty funny.
No, that's a completely different thing.
Hey,
But
Caleb,
anyways,
what do you identify as? Male? Yeah. There was actually an option that said other. That's what just made me laugh so hard. There was like male, female, and then other.
well, I don't actually, I never really understood that. But anyways, I'm not gonna get too detailed with that. But anyways, those are the struggles of being in a group project. I know it actually bothers so many people. Sometimes, you know what? There's actually people who are really good at oral presentations, and I mean, I don't mind oral presentations. I actually prefer them over like tests because I just hate tests in general. I think oral presentations are okay.
I think there's a thing that's like, it's a specific anxiety for tests.
Yeah, it's just like you have to memorize. It's like I just don't. Memorization and me do not mix. Oral presentations are okay.
No.
But in the end, I actually totally lost my train of thought.
Well, I mean,
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, I just gave it back to him. See how good I am?
Boom, like that, right in my head. The good things about, I would say the good things about a group project, it's kind of good for those people who don't do tests, like especially myself. I'm not sure about Caleb. Yes, no.
Well, for me, I usually do good on. I don't know if it's good or I do well. I'm just gonna say do well from now on. I do really
like
well.
Oral presentations, like excluding the fact of different partners.
Yeah. For oral presentations, I feel like I perform better because I'm so much more under pressure than what I usually would be as a test or something like that. Because I'm in front of a class, so I feel like that's just my my personality. Is that when I'm under pressure, I excel better than if I were not under pressure.
That's actually a good thing. I think pressure is usually a very strong motivator. But in the end, I think the good things about an oral presentation is that, like I said, for those people who aren't good with tests, they can use this to kind of maybe boost up their mark, hopefully if they get in the right group or not. Another thing I would say it's good with is that you kind of get a chance to divide up the workload in a sense, and like I said, hopefully, just crossing your fingers, hopefully you get in a group where people actually do work. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, aside from like it's just less work and it's a little bit more presentation rather than just memorizing, I think. The cons to all this is that you're working with people maybe you may or may not know, and if you do, there's no guarantee that work's going to get done. And then there's that one person who kind of does everything, and you kind of hope that that ends up covering everything in the presentation. But anyways, that's it for school rants. But what we want to hear from you guys. Comment below your stories you guys have in all the conflicts that you go through with group projects.
There's got to be some. You cannot lie. There has to be some.
Everyone's done group projects.
Yeah, there has to be some that you like. Don't just think about the blandest idea. You can send in
whatever you want.
Exactly.
We do not judge you. So write your worst story. You can say what you like, what you hate about group projects. Comment below. So we're about third-ish way through our first episode already. I'm actually really excited we're getting this rolling and everything. So,
oh yeah,
rolling on to our second segment of this episode. Old new games, those childhood games we all grew up with. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to remember other ones here.
Magic the Gathering. That was a big game.
Beyblade. I know Vanguard's a thing now. I see a lot of people playing that in my school.
They also had that, what was it, like Digimon or Bakugan?
Digimon. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about Digimon.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we'll just kind of go through and say here. So, when I grew up, I didn't really kind of get into everything until my cousin kind of showed me Pokemon cards, and then I instantly just kind of fell in love because everyone at school started playing Pokemon. It was a really big thing. I know. Back when they had Pokemon Gold, I know Pokemon fans are out there. I know it was like Pokemon Gold, What I'm saying. I had
Pokemon Yellow?
Yeah, I had the original cartridge. There was the first couple games. I think it was Blue and Red. Then there was Green. I don't think that was released in America. And then there was Pokemon Yellow. It was like a special edition game. And then there was Gold and Silver, and then Ruby and Sapphire, and then so on.
Yeah,
so on.
I just watched the TV show.
But no, I all grew up. But I always wondered sometimes we'll get into the other things. Don't worry, we'll talk about them for sure. But Pokemon was a big thing for me. I always when I got I didn't have YTV growing up. I just had TVO Kids, but
those Canadian channels,
like the ones you don't really pay for a thing, but they're just kind of like a default thing.
Yeah, it was like satellite TV. It was so funny.
I didn't have satellite.
Yeah, because I didn't have satellite TV either, and so we had CBC. And we had this weird AMI channel or whatever.
French channel too,
yeah, it was so weird. And then there would be TVO Kids every single morning.
But you're French, so it was fine for you guys.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
So back to Pokemon. I always watched it. It's really funny because between the period I watched it back then and when I watch it now, I feel like such an not an idiot, but I feel like either before I felt like Ash was oh my goodness, this guy's so cool. Ash Ketchum, he's gonna catch them all.
Catch them all.
And I actually the episodes I would go over to my friend's house and we watched them on cassette. I don't know if VCR, back in the ancient days, but
Did you just say Asian days?
No, ancient.
Ancient.
Asian.
Okay, I'm sitting here
ancient.
Back in the Asian days. Okay, look, I know it's Pokemon, but
so yeah, Pokemon was a big thing. When I was watching Pokemon, Ash was always the center of oh my gosh, Ash is so cool. And then there was that one hipster guy at school was oh, Ash sucks, I have a better team, whatever. But so, and when I watch it now, I feel Ash, you're so stupid. Why are you doing the stuff you're doing? But Pokemon, yeah, I grew up with Pokemon was a big thing. What did you grow up with?
Well, it's actually funny. When I was growing up, I just used to watch the Pokemon series because I really liked how at the end of every episode they said "to be continued," and that would catch me. I'm oh dude, there's something sick coming on next episode. I have to watch it.
There never was.
And it was never nothing. It was just a completely new story that had nothing to do with the episode before. So that was kind of why I watched the show. But a game that I played, it was so funny because I had to take a school bus to school because my school was not that close to my house. So I was ending up taking because I think you walked to school when you were in elementary school, right?
Oh yeah, it was walking distance. For me.
Yeah, so I had to take a bus, stock bus. That was the company. But so what we would do is there was this kid who he played Yu-Gi-Oh, and he brought his Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I had no idea anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. To be honest, I thought that the stars on the levels on the Yu-Gi-Oh meant how good of a card it was. And if you play a game, it's a card game which you use like the 52 deck, the 52 card deck, like the cards, like the playing cards. Those ones, there's a game called War, and so what you do is you flip it, and whoever has the higher card, you just bring it to your side. So I kind of played Yu-Gi-Oh, but the way we played it was like a war style. So we would take the attack and defense. And if the attack was higher than the defense, then you won. It was kind of like that. We didn't even look at the effect of the card, because I know in Yu-Gi-Oh they have like a lot of effects for cards, and there's like chains and stuff like that link with other cards. But the way we played it, we had nothing like that. But it was pretty fun. We did that all the time. There was this one kid who always looked at our cards and was like, "Oh, fake, 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 fake." He would start ripping our cards up and be like, "Mom," he's like, "this kid ripped my card." And it's like, "Why?" It's like, "'Cause they were fake." Oh, it was so funny. He'd take everybody's card, a fake, 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 fake.
Like, yeah, so like, there's always that one kid who's like always thought he was kind of better than everyone. So he's like, oh yeah, I know if it's a real, it's a foil or whatever, reverse foil. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was Yu-Gi-Oh for me. It wasn't until recently till I actually learned how to play the legit game of Yu-Gi-Oh, because one of my friends, he came over to stay at my friend's house, and it's
house.
Yeah, okay. I guess we're talking about it. So my friend stayed at Jay's house, and he actually introduced me to the legit version of Yu-Gi-Oh that people actually play, and it was completely different. I was so mind blown about the difference between that and right now. So that was my early childhood games.
I know, like, I was pretty skeptical about like Yu-Gi-Oh's kid. I was like, oh, it's just a game. I just watched it. I didn't really have an interest in it, because then Pokemon, I was like, a diehard Pokemon fan.
When I was little, I loved the intro. It's time to do. That was so awesome.
See, like, I never saw a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, so to actually like someone to introduce it now was actually pretty interesting. So like, as the Yu-Gi-Oh progressed with this series, like I said, I haven't really watched the series, but the one time I did, I was watching. It was like with bikes, and they were going around in a circle. I was like, what the heck is going on? They were like summoning monsters and then racing around. I
activate this card, and I activate this card, and I activate that card, and this card, and that card.
It was, yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. Shout out to that. That was really, really funny. But I know, actually, that's Yu-Gi-Oh. What's the other game? Digimon. I didn't know a whole lot about Digimon.
I honestly just saw it in a commercial.
I apologize, like, right now in advance to those who actually like grew up with Digimon and kind of know how everything worked. I'm completely lost, so like I said, I apologize if I don't say things correctly. But from what I remember, it was, you had a basic Digimon, and then you kind of upgraded it, I think, and then it grew into
levels.
Kind of. It was like you activated something, and then it like changed into a bigger monster, and then a bigger monster, like level 2 or 3. But anyways, I thought to be honest, I really liked the character and the concept of Digimon. I just never really got into it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was because I saw it on one of these commercials that it was like Digimon, and it had something to do with like Pokemon. I think they had like animal kind of type things too, right?
Right.
Yeah. So when to be honest, I thought it was the Japanese version of Pokemon. I don't know why. I was young at the time. I thought,
you realized that like Pokemon.
I do. Yes.
From Japan.
Yes, I do. I now realize that it is. But like I said, I didn't. I thought that's what it was. I thought it was from Japan. So yeah, I was way off.
What's the next one? Magic the Gathering, I think.
Magic the Gathering was huge. I mean,
I didn't have until like now, in the last like year or so, when I see people playing at school, I didn't have a clue what Magic the Gathering was. I've kind of heard like magic, but I never really knew how it worked.
When I first found out about Magic the Gathering, it was because of my friend. He was looking for this card. He kept asking me for it. I think I was like 11 years old, and he would keep asking me for this card, and he was like, "Do you have a Black Lotus?" and I was like, what is a Black Lotus? I had no idea what he was asking me. I didn't even know what a Lotus was, to be honest. Thought it was the car he was talking about, like the sports car. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a Black Lotus. So I searched up Black Lotus, and of course you got the black sports cars. But then there was also this like Magic the Gathering card, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well, what's so special about this card? So I went online, and it turns out that if you want to buy that card, it's like $8,000.
Some insane price.
It's crazy. And then I saw that there was like Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, and then there was like this revised version, and I didn't know what that meant. So then I just asked my friend, I'm like, what is Alpha, Beta, and all that stuff? And he's like, oh, it's like one was released in 1993, and like the other one was released just a little bit after that in the same year, and so it's really valuable. So I mean, that's the first I've never played Magic. I've heard of it, and I've never played it though. I just never got the chance to play it. But I've known about the Black Lotus for quite a while now. It's not been something that I just have figured out in the past couple months or so.
And apparently it's like one of those games that's like quote unquote, what I've heard from Magic the Gathering players is that it's like the oldest card game ever, because apparently you played it like way back in like
1993 was when it was released. I think that was the first trading / collectible card game that they had.
I'm not sure if it was true, but like someone told me that like they had like, it wasn't the exact same version obviously, but it was something that they played similar in like medieval times. I don't know if that's true. That's probably just a rumor. But that was Magic the Gathering. I know that was ish a thing. And then there was Beyblade. I remember Beyblade.
Let it rip.
Oh my gosh. The really funny part I found about it when I watched it on TV. Yeah, usually almost with every series, but like when you watch it on TV, you see like, oh, that's so cool, they activate this ability, and then in real life you just like pull it and you just kind of hope and pray to God that it's like not going, either it hits your opponent and it just not stop spinning.
It was the coolest thing. My friend, when I was in like grade 5 in elementary school, my friend brought his like stadium. Like you could buy those stadiums at Toys R Us for like 20. Yeah, you could buy it for like $20 at Toys R Us, and so he brought it and he had his Beyblades and stuff like that. And it was so funny because we would try to act it out like the TV show would be like 3, 2, 1, Beyblade, let it rip, and we'd pull it, and then we'd go on the stadium, and like some of them would spin for like half a second, and then the other ones would spin for 40 seconds, and then they would take out the other ones, and then there were like different levels, like, ooh, mine's like a super spinny one and stuff like that. But I mean, it was a huge thing when I was in elementary school, Beyblade. Like people would bring stadiums to schools and just play it during recess. Recess was life back then. But
now I feel like I'm getting these two mixed up, but Battle Beat 'em On. That's the one I'm trying to think of. Battle Beat 'em On. Do you remember Battle Beat 'em On?
I've never even heard of that.
Battle Beat 'em On, for those of you who don't know, just want to refresh. For those of you know what I'm talking about, it was those little things you would put like marbles into, and then you would press the back of it and it would shoot a marble, and you're trying to hit your opponent's character. I don't know. I don't think that was a thing for too long, obviously, but I know I had a couple of them, and I just like pew 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 like out of the back of the thing. That was pretty cool thrill for me because I really liked marbles, but
yeah, I've never. I mean, marbles. I know how to play marbles, like where you try to throw it and then you have to like get in the middle of the circle. But other than that,
yeah, it was there was like specific little balls for it.
Okay, now what is this game Vanguard? Like I've seen so many people talk about it. Like it's a new game. You said earlier. What is the game about? I've never even played it, seen it, anything.
All right, so I'm gonna offend a lot of people like with most of the things I'm talking about, because half of them I don't really know a clue. But I actually had my friend explain to me Vanguard, because I'm one of those people who hang out with all like the anime people and whatnot in the school.
Yeah, he's that one nerd.
Yeah, I'm a nerd pretty much, but
I'm a straight up nerd.
And yeah. Anyways, so Vanguard, right? I watched people play it, but I never understood it. I knew it was just kind of like you summoned. I forget how to. It's like calling a person. So the way it works, I think, is that you have a avatar, and you play your level 0 avatar, and then you can upgrade it every single turn to a level to a 1 or 2 or 3, and then so on. And each of them have different abilities, and yeah, you want to protect your Vanguard. And then there's other cards that surround it, and you can attack their Vanguard or other cards they have surrounding that. And the point of the game is to land an attack, and then land 6 attacks successfully, and you win.
So it's kind of like getting the Nexus in League of Legends?
We'll save that for another episode. But
you salty League players.
Salty League players, oh yes. But I know, and then you can draw for like a critical, and then if you get a critical, you do more damage, and then you can guard your Vanguard with cards you have in your hand. I think that's the basic concept of how it works. I don't really know how long. Only now I know Vanguard's a thing. Back, apparently my friend told me it was like 10 years ago. It was actually like a thing, like starting off, but it never really grew in popularity. I know I saw a commercial for it on YouTube.
I've never seen it.
3 or 4 years
To
ago.
be honest, the only way I found out about Cardfight Vanguard was when I was on a website called Cool Stuff JnC or CoolStuffIncorporated.com.
Oh, the card game website.
Yeah, a card game website, and I went on there, and there's a like a tab you can like sort by game or shop by game or whatever, and I scrolled and I saw there was like I saw Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then right below it there was Cardfight Vanguard. So I mean I knew it existed, I just didn't even know what it was about. And then recently Jay came up to me and he said, "Oh yeah, I think I should start playing Vanguard." I'm like, "Oh well, I recognize that from the website." So that's pretty much all I have of knowledge of Cardfight Vanguard.
But I know Vanguard is like the biggest, like the new thing right now. I do know. I want to go back in time a little bit. What was that? Bakugan. I know that was a game.
Yeah, that was where there's like the magnetic pieces you put on the card.
Yeah, you
and
like
it,
played a
opened
card
up.
and then it like popped up, and then you. I honestly I can't remember how the game works. All I know is that you'd attack, and it just the thing I found so cool is that you could like put it on metal and the character would like pop up and be like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, it was like my brother did that. He collected Bakugan for a little bit of time, and all I can remember about that was I just loved like going like 4 feet back and just throwing the little ball and hoping it landed on the card and just opened up.
Or like any metal.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't really care about like the game itself, but that's what I would do. Like sometimes he'd leave them out and I'd just take it and like go far away and just like throw it and hope for it to like
And hope it didn't
open
break.
up. It's so funny.
But yeah, those are all of the ones that I have on my list. But if you guys have any more, feel free to comment them below and tell us, what did you guys grow up with? Which one of the following did you grow up with? Or if we didn't mention one, feel free to let us know in the comments and give shoutouts to your favorite one, favorite game, or favorite, I guess, anime, or whichever one you guys grew up with.
So we're about 20-30 minutes into the video, something like that. We're coming up to our last little segment here. This is something because we are Canadian. I think we haven't mentioned that, but we do live in Canada, and so we are obsessed with NHL Canadian teams. And when I say obsessed, I don't mean like we watch games and we like do their stats and stuff like that. To be honest, I don't even know half the players on the team, the city that I live in. I don't even know. But when I mean obsessed, we want them to succeed because they are Canadian and we want them to do good. And one thing I just wanted to do well. I keep saying do good. We want them to do well. One thing that I just really wanted to mention. Today is March 20th. It's a Friday, 2015. And these are the standings for the NHL. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. So just keep in mind there are 7 Canadian teams in the NHL. So in the Eastern Conference, we have the Atlantic Division, and that's Montreal, Tampa Bay, Detroit, then Metropolitan, which is New York Islanders, Pittsburgh, and then Wildcard is Washington, Boston. Then we have Ottawa, Florida, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Columbus, Carolina, Toronto, and Buffalo in the hunt, I guess you could call it. Then we have the Western Conference, and this is here are the standings for the Central Division. We got St. Louis, Nashville, Chicago. Then we have the Pacific, which is Anaheim, Vancouver, Calgary. And then we have the wild card, which is Minnesota and Winnipeg, and then Los Angeles, San Jose, Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Arizona. Now,
Can I just say something first? You know what's wrong with this list?
what?
Toronto Maple Leafs is not in it.
See, okay, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the way that they play is completely ridiculous.
You better watch it.
I feel like the Toronto Maple Leafs try so much to do things that they don't need to do. Like recently, they had this issue with Nazem Kadri, a player on their team, and they made a huge deal about how he came he skipped a meeting or he came to practice late, and they took him off the roster for 3 games. They kicked him out of the game for 3 of them, and it's like okay, fine, do what you got to do, but like you don't have to go and make such a big deal out of it. I mean, Toronto is just I feel like it's a what are they called? A reality TV show. I feel like the Toronto organization is a reality TV show. It's just crazy. But one thing I really want to talk about like the Canadian teams is that before Canada, oddly enough, as Canada has won the past 2 Olympic gold medals and now just recently the World Junior Hockey Championship, Canadian teams have been garbage. We had Ottawa, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Toronto, and we had like Vancouver and Calgary. Like the only team that was pretty good is Montreal, and then a little bit of Vancouver. And then you had like the other teams who were terrible. You had like Ottawa and like all those other garbage teams. But now they're actually not doing too bad. There's 7 Canadian teams, I believe. There's 7, and we've got, I think 4 of them are in the playoffs, and Ottawa is like 1 or 2 points behind to get into the wild card spot. So I feel like this is the year that we could actually have a Stanley Cup won by a Canadian team. Because last year Montreal, they lost against New York in the semifinals, right? And I feel like they only lost because they had to face Boston the series before. And when you play Boston, man, you get tired and you get completely wiped out. And Boston, they beat Boston 4-3. They went to Game 7, and they had no time to prepare for the New York Rangers series, and they just got destroyed by New York, and then New York got destroyed by Los Angeles. So I feel like if it wasn't last year, it's got to be this year. I mean, we have so much potential to go far in this playoffs, because last year I think we only had 2 teams. I think it was only Montreal and Vancouver who made it to the playoffs last year, and this year we've actually got 4, maybe possibly 5 teams going to the playoffs. So I feel like this year is like the year for Canadian hockey teams, and I'm just because I loved the Olympics, like both 2010 and 2014. They were awesome, but Canada really hasn't done anything for sports at all. I mean, NHL, they haven't done anything. For basketball, they haven't done anything. I mean, right now the Raptors are doing pretty good. For baseball, the Blue Jays, like the only Canadian team, they're not doing anything. And then you've got the Canadian Football League, which is like, okay, yeah, but of course the Canadian team's going to win, but it's boring. Let's be honest. Like, it's boring. Nobody wants to watch a CFL over the NFL. So I feel like Canada needs to step up their game for sports. It's like, it's killing me. I mean, I'm a huge Canadian fan, and the only thing we can do is in the Olympics, because when it comes to the NHL, even then we can't do it. Like, I understand, okay, yeah, Los Angeles had like half their roster was Canadian last year, but it doesn't feel the same because the trophy's going to Los Angeles, which is an American city. It's not going to Canada. Like, I feel like there has to be something for Canada. So, I mean, that's how I feel about Canadian sports.
You disgust me.
How?
Oh my gosh. So okay, let's have a whole thing on like I love Canada and everything, and then just like trash talk them the entire way.
I do love Canada, and I'm sick and tired of seeing them lose.
So just an FYI for those of you who don't know, Caleb is actually half American, so you can kind of understand where he's coming. Coming from.
I'm fine. I'm happy.
You talk so much crap about Canada. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not talking crap. I'm saying I want them to succeed, but they just don't.
But they just suck. That's basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, so I can kind of speak from experience. I've played hockey for about 11, 12 years, so I actually know what I'm talking about when I say this. When I first, just a little history. I'm not sure if you guys care or not, but when I first was like really young, like 4 probably. I watched my first hockey game, and it was Toronto Maple Leafs, and obviously, I'm a diehard fan ever since pretty much I was born. I love the Leafs. I understand fans out there and other teams who's like, basically Toronto's like the epitome of hockey, which is not true because, don't mean to bag on these guys, but Edmonton's kind of in last place.
Oh!
But it's true.
Yeah, they're going to get Connor McDavid, and they're still not going to be good.
Leafs have done a whole bunch of trades. I think Leafs just kind of need to take a step back and be like, guys, stop doing it for a show and start doing it for the fans. Like, they're just kind of making all this drama, and then they don't actually perform well.
Exactly, like, and they still get paid.
The amount of misplays I see, I haven't played a high level of hockey, but I have done up to AA, so I kind of know a little bit. But the plays they've made are really like basic. Like, there's something that like there are mistakes that my league and my level would know. Like, this coming from a person who plays in midget division hockey right now, but. It's some like the mistakes they're making. They just need to like really focus and just not make those mistakes. I feel like they're just either doing it on purpose, but I'm not gonna say that because I love the Leafs, and I feel like it's just one of those. It's just that up and down moment where they kind of have their moment of high, and then it's just like we're gonna have a losing streak, and then they're gonna come back. But I'm really hoping. I think actually officially now they're not a contender for the playoffs. Which
they got kicked out.
Which kind of sucks. I whatever. But I have 2 other teams. It's Pittsburgh and Montreal, and then Vancouver are my next couple teams that I cheer for.
And
so I'm hoping that
all
one
three
of
of
those
them are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping that one of those. But Canadian teams are doing well. I know we've done way better in the past, and I just hope that we don't kind of lose, especially in hockey, we don't kind of lose the fact that it's not a show. Like, it is entertainment, but I also want them to play it as a game, not just like for entertainment purposes.
I feel like if Canadian teams, if they look at themselves of who they are and the talent they have on their teams,
they could do well.
Exactly, they could do well. And I just feel like if you get intimidated by these big city American teams, then you're not going to go anywhere. You just got to show up, show them who's boss. We've beaten them in the Olympics twice. Let's do it in the NHL and make Caleb proud. And then I can not go on this podcast and rant about Canadian teams, because I really don't like being mad about Canadian teams, because I want to be happy about Canadian teams. So yeah, that's those are my feelings on Canadian teams. I mean, look, the Raptors are doing good right now. They're 41-27. They're playing tonight. So I don't know who they're playing, but they're playing tonight. So if they win, then they're 42, and then they can do whatever the heck they want. But all other Canadian teams, you got to do good. You got to make Caleb proud. That's the final saying.
That's the one goal. We don't care about other Canadians proud. Just make Caleb proud. That's it.
Exactly. I am the only person you need to make proud in this very instant.
But yeah, comment below what your favorite team is. We'll try to stick with the NHL for now, but we'll broaden our topic, because I know I'm more of a thing with hockey and Caleb's a bit more a thing with football and baseball and such. But let's look at hockey. So comment below. What is your favorite hockey team? What do you think is going on with the NHL? What do you think could be improved? What do you think kind of sucks about it? I know there's quite a few things that I could talk about, but I think we'll leave it at that for now, or else this podcast will never end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're coming up to the end of episode number 1. It's been a really great episode so far, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. Just to close off, I want to start getting a new thing called EDM Top 5 for now. In terms of the copyright issues, I'm not really sure how far we're going to go with it, but we'll find a couple of music sources that don't really have the whole copyright issue. But for now, I'm going to be choosing, or if you guys want to submit your songs, which one you think deserves to be in the top 5 spots we'll say month for now, every month. I will choose 5. You guys can vote on them, which ones you want in the top 5, and we'll present that every single month to help promote other artists, and even new ones too. Speaking of music, Song Showdown, another thing I want to talk about too. We'll get it rolling whenever everyone starts submitting stuff. We haven't really got anything for now, just because we're obviously just starting off. But I mean, send in your songs. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we'll get Song Showdown rolling once we get enough people. But until then, my name is Jay.
My name is Caleb.
And thank you for listening to episode 1 of the JnC podcast.
LarsM.